Hey everybody, I want to talk to you today about tribute knives, Rambo knives, reproductions, knockoffs, imitations, whatever. There are a lot of different names, a lot of different words. They don't all mean the same thing. We'll get into that in a minute. But the information at hand, I recently changed the color gun coat that goes on my knives. So this is an M7. This is a 7 3/4 inch long blade. Now obviously you can see the influence from Jimmy Lyle and the Sly 2 and the First Blood knife in this knife. There's no denying that at all. I've never tried to deny it. I've been very open from day one that my knives were heavily influenced, and my design, my style, were heavily influenced by Lyle, by Jack Crane, Von Neely, and there were some others, great knife makers that, in my opinion, made some just beautiful knives. Also, a lot of them happen to be hollow handled. And these knives and their styles and their designs influenced me. I decided early on that I didn't just want to make, reproductions of the First Blood knife and so forth. So, kind of decided to go my own way and modify these designs to do what I wanted to do, with a focus on being a usable working knife, not just a movie prop or a knife that would work in the outdoors but wasn't really designed for that reason. These aren't really combat knives. I know combat and tactical and those type of monikers, they tend to sell. And I got no problem with that. That's just sales, marketing. It's like we talked before about SUVs. What exactly does that mean? What does a sports car mean? Well, those are basically marketing terms, so you know how to find what you're looking for. Same kind of thing with, tactical knives and so forth. Mainly, it's a way to label the knife so you can get what you're after and you can market it to a certain crowd. So anyway, prior to this, I've been using clear GunKote on the blasted portions of the knife because it closely emulated that look of the blasted finish, but it also gave it the protection of GunKote. Well, I had some issues with clear GunKote, and maybe it was just me. It doesn't really matter, but it's no longer a viable product for me to use for the time being. So I decided to switch, and in this field there's the tribute knives and the Rambo knives and stuff. Guys, I don't want to get any closer to making those imitation looking knives of First Blood and Jimmy Lyle and Jack Crane from Commando and Predator and Rambo and all that stuff. I love those knives. I love that style. But I want to do my own knives, and I don't want to sit there and redo somebody else's work for the next 20, 30 years, hopefully. So nothing against anybody that does that. There are guys that have made careers out of doing that. That's their business, not mine. This is not a swipe at anybody. I don't really even know a lot of those guys, so I'm not saying anything in that direction. It's just for me, I want to go in a different direction. So hang on one second. I just made this coffee, and man, it is delicious. Got my Cracker Barrel mug. Coffee always tastes better in a Cracker Barrel mug. So anyway, when it became time to switch the GunKote color, I thought, okay, at first I started looking to find what could be the closest to this clear on the blasted metal. And I started thinking, if you don't start veering away from the Rambo stuff, you're going to just start keep dancing closer and closer towards it. So it was something that was a little bolder and going to give it a completely, different look in the context of still being a hollow-handled survival knife with a saw back on it. So I honestly was surprised. At first, the gray, I tried a couple different colors. At first, the gray, I didn't really know what to make of it because it's kind of like I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bluish gray, but it falls on that end of the spectrum as opposed to like being a blackish gray. So it kind of warms up the tone and the appearance of the knife. But after having played with this for the last couple days, I'm very actually pleased, and I'm really excited about the way this looks and feels. It's going to give it a totally different look, and it's going to give it a bolder look, which is what I was really after, while it's still at the same time giving it that protection of the GunKote, and it will still be recognizable as that hollow-handled survival type knife, the sawback and everything else that First Blood that drew a lot of us into these knives in the first place. Also, I got to say, I'm surprised. The vast majority of people that have seen it, both online, in person, and so forth, are very pleased with this. They liked it a lot. So that to me is very encouraging. I feel really good about that. I feel good about offering it like this. Now again, just to recap, when you order a knife from me, you do not have to get the gray GunKote. You can just get fully blasted. You can get the two-tone blasted and satin with the polished edges. Or if you choose to get GunKote, I offer the gray as my standard color. I also, however, offer black and OD green. I really like the gray, and I think once we find the exact cord color that really sets it off, it's going to be that much more powerful looking. It's really potent and really pop. So anyway, that's kind of that. The other thing I wanted to get into is the whole concept of tribute knives and will you make Rambo knives? And guys, that's a question. I get emails on this all the time. It's one of two ways usually. Either somebody that says, hey, will you make me a First Blood knife? Or will you make a Commando knife from the movie Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Jack Crane knife, or the Predator knife? Or the tricky way is that they're like, hey, wow, I really like your M7. You know, would you be willing to go ahead and make it to a 9-inch length? Well, okay, I don't want to like doing that, but maybe, you know, okay, yeah. And if you could go ahead and just do a lug guard instead of the regular asymmetrical guard that you use, that's more comfortable. If you could do the lug guard, then, well, I don't know, man. Yeah, and if you could put the sharpening stone or no strap, and basically they try and, you know, do a Build-A-Bear type approach to making a Rambo knife. Guys, it's nothing personal. I don't mind. I get it, but that's not what I want to do. So I'm not interested in making Rambo knives. It would be a lot easier if I did. I could jack my prices up a good probably 20-25% right off the bat and just make the same thing every day and not have to worry about innovation, about trying new processes, about trying to improve it and all this other stuff. But that's not what I want to do, guys. That is one of the allures of getting into making tribute knives, right? A knife that's already an established seller. People know there's a built-in fan base with the Rambo knives, with the Jack Crane knives and Predator and all this other stuff. There's a built-in fan base with doing that. So, you know, it's a pretty safe business move if you can pull off the skills to make those knives in that style. Unfortunately, that's just not something that I want to do. I'm not really interested in doing that. So if you ask me for a Rambo knife or a tribute knife or whatever else, I just politely decline because that's not the route that I want to go. Nothing personal. I understand you wanting them. I like them too, but that's not what I'm going to be doing. So at least not for the foreseeable future. I mean, hey, things change. Anybody can, you know, things change. But I have no desire and no intention or plans of doing that at this time at all. So anyway, that's that. That is good coffee. So in conclusion, this is the route we're going with now. Very pleased with this. Let me know what you think of the color and the GunKote. So far, like I said, I've been very, very pleasantly surprised. Everyone seems to have liked it. At least everybody that's commented. Maybe the guys that don't like it aren't saying anything. I don't know. But I'm very pleased with this, and we'll have this one finished up next week and ready to go out. And we'll get a chance to see it with the cord wrap and the sheath and all that. But very pleased. I'm glad we're going in a different direction here, trying to go in maybe break some new ground, do some other things. If you look, that's been the driving force between a lot of my knives. I've got actually a pretty large selection of sizes and shapes and purposes of different hollow handled survival type knives because I don't just want to do the same thing over and over and over again. So anyway, I appreciate your support, guys. This has been a lot of fun already. We're off to a good start this year. Got a lot of good things happening. Moving some things around. I'm really, we're going to get production up. Actually, production is up and rolling good. The last thing I'm waiting on is a few outside things to get squared away. But very pleased so far. So thank you for your support. Look forward to making a lot more knives this year.